Good afternoon and welcome to the Ohio Cannabis Institute's 420 Small Business Report. I'm your host, Fred Hanover. Glad you're with us today. Very exciting. This is episode 4, our last final episode in our Pick and Axe series. As we've been discussing as a quick wrap up, there are 4 main parts, components, if you will, of the Ohio medical cannabis system. And what I mean by that is there are really 4 main licensees. There are cultivators, there are testers, there are processors, and there are retailers or dispensaries. So we have discussed over the last 4 episodes how serving the needs of those in those industries, those segments, if you will, can be a very valuable way of participating in the medical cannabis industry in Ohio. And we've also discussed how the pick and axe industry came about and really where those terms came from, way back in the 1850s. When the people that were really making all the money were not the miners who were out digging the gold up, but those that were selling them the picks and the axes and the bedding for the night and the horse and the livery and the hardware store and the feed store and all the things that were needed by those miners to make their job work. So what are we going to do here in Ohio to try and help those 4 segments in the medical cannabis industry work better? We are a creative lot in this state, and my intent really for the last 3 episodes has been to try and spur your imagination, create some creativity, or not create, but spur on some creativity, and see if we can't think of some new concepts, new ideas, maybe new ways of doing the same things, or maybe doing things totally different that can make you a lot of money. That's for you to come up with those things, for you to be creative and figure them out. I just lay the plate out. I put the smorgasbord out on the table and you figure out what you want to do with it. So let's get into it today. Episode 4, pretty exciting really. We're talking about the main service offerings. So these are business process services that may not necessarily be things that the management team has experience with or even wants to have experience with. Things that make a lot of sense to outsource. And so we're going to go through some of those outsourcing types of opportunities for the cannabis industry and see if they resonate with you. The very first one, and a significant one, is IT services. We discussed a little bit of that last episode, but really on the IT service side, you're going to need to know the inside out of the state's seed-to-sale system. And you're going to have people that know that inside out. And as we discussed, IT people are pretty expensive, so does it make sense to bring staff on board, or does it make sense to outsource that? I've always been in favor of outsourcing myself. I think it's a way to control costs. If you believe the same, or if some of the folks out there who are purchasing these licenses feel the same, then that's an opportunity for you who are in the IT services industry to really jump on board. Same with accounting services. There are going to be specific accounting services needed for the cannabis industry, especially when you combine that with banking, because there are limitations. Federally chartered banks and insured banks really don't want to be involved at all in the cannabis industry at this point because cannabis is still illegal federally. It is a federal class 1 drug. Again, the same thing with legal people, right? Because you can't afford to bring on legal people on staff. Well, maybe you can, but certainly makes sense to outsource that. If you are a lawyer or if you are a firm, maybe looking at this industry as a specialty might make sense to you. Marketing, advertising services. There's definitely going to be a need to brand, right? These grows, these strains that are coming out are going to need to be branded, unless they're already branded, but I got a feeling there are going to be some new brands coming out. So how do you take that to market? Well, that's where your advertising and your marketing people come in. And if you are in those industries right now, I think the cannabis industry is ripe for you to jump in and help them. And the interesting part of really running a cannabis-oriented business is the mindset that you need to become successful in this industry. And that's where consulting services can come into play. Cultivating consulting services, business consulting services, process and industrial engineering consulting services can really make grow sites much more efficient, effective, increase production. The same with the testing, the same with processing, and even with retail. So these consulting services, I believe, are very necessary. From the experience that I've seen in the many people that I've talked to who are trying to get into the cannabis industry right now, very few are business savvy. They may have some experience running a health food clinic, or they may have some experience being an osteopathic doctor, or they may have some experience doing something else, but they're not savvy, sophisticated business people who have run large operations from the most part. Now, I'm not saying that these folks are not going to hire those people, and let's hope they do. But even those people are going to need the right people around them. So I think these kind of consulting services are going to be very valuable, and indeed you can even help them find the right people for their positions. So, wanted to talk a little bit about that today as a wrap-up to our Pick and Act series. I hope it's given you a little bit of information about the industry, as well as maybe spurred you on to think about how you may want to participate. I sure appreciate your time. God bless you, everybody, and we sure look forward to seeing you again on the 420 Small Business Report next time.